There is a place that is spoken about only in whispers, a dark area that spawns the beginnings of urban legends, a place where anything can happen and usually does. During the light of day, it hides just outside of view, but when the sun goes down, spirits, creatures of the night, roam free, and things do go bump in the night. It is in every state and every country, and there is no escaping it, no matter how safe you feel behind your locked doors and latched windows. So we invite you to turn down the lights and turn up your radio while we join Dave Schrader and Tim Dennis, your hosts, on a journey into the darkness on the edge of town.
Hello and welcome. You're tuned into the best in paranormal talk radio. This is Darkness Radio. I'm your host, Dave Schrader. That guy over there, that's Tim Dennis. And you, our listeners, are asking what the living is going on right now with your show. At least those of you that, I don't know, don't listen regularly are wondering what's going on.
Yes, yeah.
We've been explaining that we're making this big change. We've left Podcast One. Oh, does that mean we should get rid of all of our, podcast? No. Everything's going to resume for Darkness Radio on our Darkness Radio app, on iTunes. The show will be under Darkness Radio, on Stitcher and Spotify and a few other locations. That will be taking place within about the next week. We're busy. Tim especially is working his fingers to the bone, getting our Darkhives ready to be revealed. Some of these episodes have not been heard in almost 15 years. So we are just getting everything swapped over, fixed up, and ready to rock and roll. So that should be within about a week. Am I right, Tim?
Well, keep in mind, here's the deal. There's 6,500 hours worth of audio. So there's going to be a slow rollout of the Darkhive. So don't think that it's all going to be there in one shot. But you're going to have like the last 3 years that'll be there right away. And slowly you'll see those years start rolling out. But here's the deal is that the switchover is going to happen immediately after the week of the 21st. So just like that, the switch goes on and our RSS feed starts working again. And
so if you've got our Darkness Radio app, boom, you'll be able to continue to listen. Wait, what's that? Oh, many of you listening to us on YouTube were unaware that we had a Darkness Radio app. Well, we do. And the best part is it's absolutely free. You can download it at the Google Play Store and the iTunes Store. And that will begin making them available again next week.
But Dave, here's the great thing. There's a Stitcher app, too.
There's more?
People who have the Stitcher app will be able to get Darkness Radio as well, and all the great programs that Stitcher has over there. That's the other part of the great thing. And again, there's going to be some, and we're getting the literature on stuff, too, from Stitcher. That's coming into our inbox this weekend, so we can fully explain stuff to you.
But Tim, I've been listening through iTunes and Apple Podcasts. Will it be there for me to listen as well?
Oh, of course, Dave. The beautiful thing about us going over to Stitcher is that we have many different platforms and more platforms to present our program to you on. One of those, of course, is Apple Podcasts, otherwise known as iTunes. That is one of those platforms. Spotify.
So, Tim, if I've already been subscribed through iTunes to Beyond the Darkness, do I have to go look for Darkness Radio all over again?
Now, this is a case-by-case basis. There's a potential you might have to again. You might have to resubscribe again. But you may or you may not. It may just pop up again on your feed, although chances are, because of the redirect, we're doing a redirect from Podcast One to Stitcher. So some of you, it might just come back up again, and your programs might just start populating again. For some of you, you might have to go resubscribe again. It just depends on the individual basis. So,
but what about these weeks, Tim, where you haven't been on Podcast One? Will these episodes be available to us through the other sources?
Here's a beautiful thing, Dave. It's going to be so seamless, you might just blank yourself. Yeah, it is going to be available. We're going to take those programs and put them right on Stitcher so you won't miss a thing.
I, for the record, stopped blanking myself after I got married, Tim. You can go blind.
Well, I don't mean like that. I mean it coming out of the other end. I mean you.
Oh!
Yeah. Like shitting yourself, Dave. That's we're all adults here, so I'll just go ahead and say it. Yeah.
Straight to the heart of the matter.
Yeah.
All right, so that's all good news. That's what's happening. But Tim, I don't just listen to Darkness Radio. I listen to True Crime Tuesday.
Oh,
and
Dave.
That's over on Patreon.
Oh,
Tim.
Dave, are you
ready?
ready?
What do I do now? What do I do now?
Dave, you know what? I haven't even told you this yet. Are you ready for efficiency? You want to talk about efficiency here, Dave?
I do. Let's talk efficiency, Tim. What's efficient?
I've been working so hard at this, my friend. I have been working from the time I get up in the morning to the time I go to bed. I have been cutting hours on sleep. What's sleep, Dave? I don't even know what sleep is. But the wonderful people over at Stitcher, and they are at Stitcher/Midroll, Midroll, the parent company, of course. Wonderful people at Midroll have said to me, well, how soon do you want to start up True Crime Tuesday over here, Tim? How soon do you want to do it, Tim? And I said, well, we'd like to do it as soon as possible. We'd like to get this thing rolling as soon as possible. We'd like to get this thing going as soon as possible. And they said, well, we could fire up this thing as soon as Tuesday.
This Tuesday, Tim?
Yeah, this Tuesday.
But what does that mean to me? If I've been subscribing to it through Patreon, what happens now?
Well, that's a good question. So here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking we could probably post one more show over there at Patreon this Tuesday. And I'm thinking we can post that same show on Stitcher Premium this Tuesday.
We're double dipping, Tim?
I think we could. What I think is this is pretty much your notice to get ready, folks. Get ready and get your grubby little hands ready to subscribe to Stitcher Premium. Because I think we're getting ready for the flip. At least for True Crime Tuesday.
Get ready.
Because
get ready, because here we come. On our way, getting ready, because here we come.
The entire archive is already ready for you for True Crime Tuesday, is already ready for you over at Stitcher Premium.
Wait a minute, Tim. So you mean that if I subscribe to Stitcher Premium, I'm now going to get access to all of the True Crime Tuesday episodes?
They're already there.
That have ever aired?
They're already there. They're already sitting there waiting for you. So not only will you get the brand new episode this coming Tuesday of True Crime Tuesday, but all the episodes that have ever aired of True Crime Tuesday are there already waiting for you.
Now, those are all the ones that we aired on Patreon.
Yes, all the ones that aired on Patreon are there waiting for you.
Now, here's the exciting news, folks. When we release our Darchives, remember, prior to jumping over to Patreon to release True Crime Tuesday, all of our episodes, we did a Tuesday episode for years. So you'll get all of those True Crime episodes buried in the archives as well. So you're going to get a lot of premium content from Darkness Radio now, Tim. But what does it cost, Tim? What does Stitcher Premium cost? Is it $59.99?
Are you ready for this, Dave?
I think I'm ready.
I got... Dave, I have another surprise.
What?
I have another surprise. I don't even know if I should announce this here on the show.
Well, Tim, this would be the time.
There is
announce that. Yes,
there is a special deal.
Mm-hmm.
You ready for this? For the people who are already subscribed to True Crime Tuesday, that we can let them know via email blast. There will be a code for them. Are you ready for this?
Son of a what?
Yeah, I've been doing a little wheeling and dealing and styling and profiling over there with the people at Midroll. Okay.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So, are you sitting down, my friend? Are you sitting down?
I consider me sitting.
Okay, so your $5 a month is still the price when you go to Stitcher Premium, but that's not all. Dave. But that's not all. That's not all.
Okay.
There is a yearly price over there. Okay, you get a cut rate if you want to go yearly.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
So right now I'm spending $4.99 a month on Patreon for True Crime Tuesday, which, let's face it, is a great value. Right? That's 4 episodes a month.
Right.
Brand new content.
Yes.
For only $5 a month. Now you're saying that with my $5 a month.
Yep.
I get to stream and download all my favorite podcasts that are part of Stitcher Premium.
Exactly.
And I get access to exclusive podcasts and bonus episodes.
Exactly.
Early access to podcasts.
Exactly.
But Tim, is it ad-free listening?
It is all ad-free, Dave, and you get ad-free episodes of new Darkness Radio content, and you get ad-free episodes of the Darchives. But Dave,
but Tim, I listen to this stuff. I love it, but then I have a hard time going to sleep, Tim. I need something to lighten the mood. Is there any chance there's 300 plus comedy albums available through Stitcher Premium?
Oh, I'm sure there are.
How about monthly swag giveaways, Tim? That would really impress me.
I'm sure we could arrange it.
There is. I'm looking right at the Stitcher Premium page. There's also free shipping on podswag.com and access to exclusive ticket giveaways when you subscribe for $5 a month. So that's a hell of a price. Hell of a price for $5 a month. So you get Darkness Radio, The Darchives, True Crime Tuesday, all ad-free on Stitcher Premium, plus all the other content that exists. But you're saying, Tim, that's not good enough. You are telling me that there is an annual price. If people want to do it and pay for an entire year.
There's an annual price, but are you ready for this?
I thought it was. Let me see what it is. Go ahead.
I don't know what the exact price is right now because that's coming in the marketing materials this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
We're taping this before the weekend. But I worked a little something out. You know, massaging our bosses over there at Midroll. I worked out a little yearly price that is significantly lower than what you would pay for an entire year of True Crime Tuesday. Let's just say it might be right around the halfway mark of what you would pay for an entire year.
I think it's somewhere in the neighborhood of about $2.92 a month.
Something like
what it breaks down to.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
So all our True Crime Tuesday listeners would pay about that for a yearly subscription. Mm-hmm.
And now they get access to all of Stitcher's premium product, every show, like Mark Maron.
Yep.
How about How Did This Get Made? And The Office Ladies.
Mm-hmm.
Would that be available to them, Tim?
It would be, Dave. It would.
Son of a Biscuit. How about the Joe Rogan Experience? Tim's number one favorite podcast.
Well, we can skip that. I mean,
well, it's on there, believe it or not. Yeah. So is the Rachel Maddow show, The Daily. There is Dateline NBC, The American Life. There is the Ben Shapiro show. Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend. That's right. There is all kinds of great shows that you're now going to get for your money. So for $2.92 a month is what it breaks down to when you sign up for the yearly price. You get amazing content. And we need your help because we want to appear in the top 10 podcasts on Stitcher. And we know you can help us get there. So go subscribe to Stitcher. Go subscribe to Stitcher Premium. And again, for a yearly deal, you're paying about half of what you pay just for Podcast One's version and Patreon's version of True Crime Tuesday. You can't go wrong. It's a hell of a deal.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we said all that to say all this. It's a new week. We have new things to talk about, Tim, including new episodes continue of the new Travel Channel hit TV series, Paranormal Night Shift. And I have it on good authority, Tim, that a certain member of this show, Darkness Radio, continues to appear and may be returning for a season 2.
Who told you that?
I just hear things. I hear things.
You hear things?
I hear things, but there are more episodes coming. So make sure every Friday, if you have not already set your TV DVR to record Paranormal Night Shift, you do so. Fascinating, frightening, amazing fables, real stories of phantoms and misfits, and your buddy Timmy D will be appearing, I think, on 8 of the 10 or 12 episodes that have been created.
Yes, sir.
So you'll be able to find that. But, geez, you know what, Tim? That's great and all. Friday nights are wonderful, but, geez, if there was only something fun and frightening and really interesting on Thursday nights on Travel Channel.
Yeah, because Thursday night's wide open. I mean,
yeah. Well,
I
have some good news for listeners and viewers, Tim,
What's that?
of the Travel Channel. Ghostober has been announced on Travel, including the Joe Exotic Zoo special.
Oh,
how about that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Travel Channel's bringing out all the thrills, all the chills for its third annual Ghostober, its paranormal programming event, guaranteed to get viewers ready for Halloween. The network plans to deliver an over-the-top slate of original programming, according to Matthew Butler, the general manager of Travel Channel, who said that Halloween is Travel Channel's Super Bowl. Forget Shark Week, Tim. Forget about it.
Yeah.
Forget NASCAR Monthly. I don't know. Is that a thing? What you need is Ghostober. Everybody listening to this show should be tuning into Ghostober. This year's lineup, set to kick off next month in Ghostober, is filled with a creepy mix of buzzy new specials, bold-faced names, and returning favorites that are promising to take viewers on spine-chilling adventures to the other side, officially kicking off next month and running through October 31st, culminating with 7 nights of fright. Among other titles included in the lineup are the Amityville Horror House, The Exorcism of Roland Doe, the return of the Osbournes' Night of Terror, which showcases the Osbourne family's first ever paranormal investigation. That's right, you heard about it, Tim. And Season 2 premiere of The Holzer Files. Huh?
Nice.
Yeah, Darkness Dave returns for Season 2 of The Holzer Files in October, along with Shane Pittman, Cindy Kaza, Alexandra Holzer, and the one and only Gabe Roth. And then check this out, Tim. Travel Channel is getting in on the Tiger King hype, airing Host Ghost Adventures Horror at Joe Exotic Zoo, which will see Zach Baggins and the Ghost Adventures crew heading to Greater Wynwood Animal Park to complete the first ever paranormal investigation to take place on the zoo's grounds. The Ghostober lineup will reach a frightful conclusion Halloween night with Ghost Nation Reunion in Hell, a crossover event featuring paranormal investigators from Ghost Nation, which is Steve Gonzalez, Dave Tango, Jason Hawes, and the cast of Kindred Spirits, Tim. That's right. Amy Bruni, Adam Barry, who were part of Ghost Hunters and Ghost Hunters International and Ghost Hunters Academy, are now part of this Ghost Nation Reunion in Hell crossover event. Very, very exciting. Along with tuning into the Ghostober event, fans can find more exclusive content from their favorite shows, including behind-the-scenes videos, cast interviews, photos, and more on Travel Channel and Travel Channel's Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram pages. Travel Channel is also debuting new exclusive web series, Up Close and Paranormal, with the cast of Ghost Nation and Kindred Spirits. All right, so here's what you can expect coming up. Amityville Horror House, a 2-hour shock doc special that premieres on October 26th. The Exorcism of Roland Doe, which is one of the 2-hour shock doc specials that'll air on October 27th. This is Halloween, 2-hour shock doc special that premieres on October 28th. The Ghost Adventures Horror at Joe Exotic Zoo, which is a 2-hour special, premiering October 29th, Tim. Following that special on October 29th, the Season 2 premiere of the long-awaited return of The Holzer Files. So when you tune in to see Zach and the crew go out to check out Joe Exotics,
Yes, exactly.
Joe Exotics Tiger and Lion Park, you'll also be able to stay tuned right afterwards to see a kickoff of what I think might be one of my favorite episodes of the entire season is going to jump out at you on October 29th. Now, it's going to be late that night, Tim. I'm just being honest with you. It's going to be late that night. It's premiering after the 2-hour special, so it'll be 11 p.m. Eastern and Pacific. That's 10 p.m. Central and Mountain Time, I believe. So keep that in mind. But the following Thursday, we return to our regular slate, which is 10 p.m. Eastern and Pacific, 9 p.m. Central. And you'll be able to watch us for 13 brand new episodes. There's also Portals to Hell 1-hour sneak peek, Frightmare in Connecticut, that will premiere on October 30th. That's right, the return of Jack Osbourne and Katrina Weidman, giving you a little insight into their next season. The Osbournes' Night of Terror, a 2-hour special, will premiere on Friday, October 30th. Ghost Nation Reunion in Hell, the 2-hour crossover with Amy Bruni, Adam Barry, and the entire cast of Ghost Nation, will be on Halloween, Saturday, October 31st. Now check this out too. There's Destination Fear returning October 24th. The Holzer Files, October 29th. New episodes of the Ghost Adventures Screaming Room, you can hear those on Thursday. Watch those Thursday nights right before you watch the Holzer Files. Paranormal Caught on Camera, Top 100. Those episodes will begin airing on Sundays with a season finale on October 25th. And there's also a Halloween special that is filmed that will include many of your favorite Travel Channel paranormal investigators, including yours truly. And we'll be talking about some of our fondest, favorite, funniest, scariest, and weirdest Halloween moments growing up. So I hope that you'll tune in and check that out. I'm excited. A lot of cool stuff bubbling over at Travel Channel, and I'm excited that you and I get to be a part of it this year.
Sounds like it. Yeah, it's chock full of stuff. Yeah, it's a lot to digest, that's for sure.
This season, Tim, season 2, I know I've been talking about it. I honestly got to tell you, I am blown away by the evidence and the stories that we captured this season. I honestly think, it sounds egotistical to say, but I think this is one of the finest paranormal shows out there because it approaches it in a different way. It's very methodical, almost like a CSI, the way it breaks down the history, the evidence, the stories, and investigates it under a fresh new light. We don't just go for the easy pick and fruit of the most famous stories. We acknowledge those, but we dig deeper, and we have been really blessed in uncovering what I think is some of the coolest, weirdest, and wildest evidence you're ever going to see.
Well, there's a couple of shows out there that have really changed the game a little bit from typical paranormal shows. I would put your show there. I would put the new Ghost Hunters there.
Ghost Nation or
no Ghost Hunters. With the stuff that Brandon Elvis and Mustafa and those guys are doing with the investigation techniques and whatnot. I really do think it's not just typical investigation. You're seeing some variety. You're seeing some new stuff out there, and so I'm excited. I'm excited to see the second season of Holzer Files. That's for sure.
Very cool. Hey, we got a lot of news to cover, but I wanted to talk about two things. People, still kind of COVIDing at home, looking for fun stuff to watch. Mm-hmm. I gotta talk about two things. First of all, I reluctantly tuned in to watch the Amazon TV series The Boys. Yeah. And I'm a superhero fan. You and I are superhero comic book nerds from way back.
Yep.
And I had my son, Linus, came to me. He said, Dad, you got to watch it. It's superheroes. Why haven't you watched it? I said, I don't know. And I really like Carl Urban, who plays Bones in the new Star Trek. And he played Dredd, which I think was a very underplayed, great reboot of the series, the Judge Dredd movie.
Yeah.
He was on Almost Human, which I thought was a fascinating show. I really like him. So I can't explain why I didn't watch it. I guess because I kind of had this preconceived notion that it was kind of a mock superhero show, like it was mocking other things and it was going to be dumb funny, but just I didn't want to see that. Mm-hmm. And when I told my son that, he goes, no, Dad, this show is awesome. This show is what it would really be like if superheroes existed. And it's a cynical take that my son says on this. So I'm like, really? And he goes, yeah. And I go, but how corny is that? He goes, no, Dad, they reference pop culture things all the time throughout it. Like these, Nicki Minaj exists in this universe, and so does Joe Exotic and whatever. These things exist, but it's like what would the world be like if corporations ran superheroes? And I tuned in. I voraciously tore through every episode and loved it. And then season 2 kicked off. I think there are 4 or 5 episodes in on that. I've enjoyed it. I got to tell you, this is a series, Tim, where every time you think you kind of see what they're telegraphing, you are completely thrown by what comes out next. This show is not a kid's superhero show, though. Do not watch it with your children. Yeah. Have you watched the series?
I haven't seen the series. I'm familiar with the comic, but I have not watched the.
Treat yourself. It is amazing. It's basically a Justice League group. Mm-hmm. I don't want to say Avengers because it feels. You've got Homelander, who is Star Spangled Kid. He's Superman, right? Mm-hmm. He is the most powerful being on the planet. Then you've got Black Noir, which is your Batman, strong, silent, deadly type, right? Mm-hmm. You've got Lamplighter, who was your Green Lantern, but he's retired. We don't see him in the story, but they're replacing him with a new character, and we get introduced to her character, Starlight. And then there's Queen Maeve, who is your Wonder Woman character. There's the Deep, who is your Aquaman. Mm-hmm. And then there's Translucent, who is the Invisible Man. But these characters all have unbelievable flaws. They're weird. It's wild. It's raunchy at times. It's well written, funny, bizarre. It is really an interesting show. So I'm honestly, out of 10 stars, Tim, I would give this a solid 8 stars. Now, we don't usually do 10 stars. We do 5 stars on the show. Mm-hmm. But that's just how far I wanted to take it, that it's better than a 5-star show to me. It's really good, and it's bizarre. But just be aware, it is not for children. There are bits of nudity, graphic violence, lots of cursing, and some twisted takes. Now, did you read the comic book series?
I did, yeah. It originally, when the series first came out, it was kind of set between 2006 and 2008. It was written by Garth Ennis. And it was it was just as shocking at that time as it is now. It sounds like with what's going on with the Amazon series. And it was definitely ahead of its time then. And it was a Wildstorm series, which, if you're not familiar with comics, Wildstorm was an imprint of Image at the time, and it was very much ahead of its time. It was kind of an indie print, and so it had that edginess to it. And I'm glad that it sounds like Amazon has pretty much picked up that edginess with it, and it had to be an edgy type series if you were going to do it that way. Anything less than that would have been a disservice to that. I'll have to check it out, because it really was an edgy series. And one of the things about, these different adaptations that people are doing with superheroes now, is to stay true to the character, try to stay true to the character in order to bring it to the big screen. And you almost have to stay true to the character now in order to make it authentic or make it feel authentic. Otherwise, you get that cheesy stuff that we had when we first saw superheroes coming out on film, that made it tank so badly.
Can be, yeah.
Yeah, but I'm glad. It sounds like, we had some good news, and I don't mean to get off on a tangent here, but there was some good news that came out as far as Marvel was concerned, that they were looking at bringing Charlie Cox back as Daredevil in a future Marvel film, and that came out this past week, which means that all of these Netflix contracts are coming up. So that means that they're going to probably start mixing in the Netflix characters with the Marvel Universe cinematic universe, which is great, because that was that gritty feel that you needed in television, and getting down to the core of the character. And really, that was kind of that revolution of getting the feel of the character and bringing it to a comic book character, and really getting in touch with those characters. So I guess that I am getting on kind of a tangent here, but it's good to see that they're continuing that with television and not afraid to get into some of the indie stuff, because the indie stuff is quite raw, and to try and bring it to even a pay service is kind of, 10, 15 years ago, they would have never adapted something like The Boys or some of this other stuff that you're seeing coming to movies and television.
Well, and DC Universe had Swamp Thing, which people were equating to a horror movie series. And I guess it was really good. I watched the first 2 episodes, and then I heard they canceled it. So I figured I'm not going to get involved in this. I don't have time to give to a series that's going to be taken away. And now CW has picked it up. They'll begin airing the old series and the new series on CW. So for you horror movie fans, I guess this is a great series to pick up on. Swamp Thing, also a comic book character, kind of an anti-hero, reluctant hero creature thing. And it's really fascinating. So that's going to be coming to television. The last bit of entertainment news I've really got going here is I'm about to lie to you. It's not the last one, but I found a review for Amityville, It's About Time. And they're saying that this movie perfected the Amityville horror deal. You've got Nightmare on Elm Street has 8 films, including that reboot, 11 Friday the 13th movies. And then you've got one shared between Nightmare on Elm Street and Friday the 13th. Then you've got the reboots of Child's Play, which now brings it up to 7 movies. Puppet Master is 14. Halloween's up to 13 movies. The Conjuring universe has 7 films. Saw will be up to 9 when Spiral from the Book of Saw finally comes out. But of all those franchises, Amityville Horror still has 23 movies and counting. Now, I know we kind of put a moratorium on people watching the new movies because in a lot of ways they were really glorifying, and especially in like the new reboot with Deadpool. I can't think of his real name now. Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah.
They kind of turn the DeFeo kids into villains. The ghosty characters are, and we talked to our good friend Chris Lutz, the youngest boy from the real Amityville Horror Story, and he kind of showed me, this isn't great to glorify, but this sequel really takes place not in Amityville, it takes place in a different home. This attorney, I guess, ends up getting a clock that once sat on the mantelpiece at 112 Ocean Avenue in Long Island, and this first set of sequels, kind of, I guess, really got overlooked. But according to this article, it's made me want to actually go back and read it. It says that this story is really an interesting one. It's called Amityville 1992. It's About Time. It was released directly to DVD. All right. So you could probably find it in a myriad of ways, probably Shudder, maybe on Amazon or Netflix or Pluto or something, but check it out. It says that, according to this, kind of outdoes its peers by every metric, and they're claiming it deserves a place in horror canon. According to this, it says the original tagline for Amityville Horror was, "For God's sakes, get out." That command captured the fear we all have whenever we move into a new place. You have this creeping suspicion that maybe the previous owners are still contaminating that home. Well, Amityville 1992 twists that idea by taking place not in New York, but in a tacky modern California tract house. And the home belongs to a widower, a housing developer, I guess, not an attorney, tasked with designing a new concept for his planned community. He ends up getting inspiration in this antique clock he purchased in from New York, a clock that sat in the Amityville house. And then he slowly becomes possessed by something. And this clock starts kind of possessing the entire house, which I know sounds weird, but I'm willing to give this a shot because this guy goes on and on about how great this movie is and how it's really a good in-your-head psychological thriller. So if you're looking for a new movie, Amityville 1992 might be the way to look into it. Again, it's got some of the schlock of 80s and 90s horror movie stuff, but he says this is the best of the Amityville movies. So check it out if you're looking for something to do a little killing time with. That might be the way to go.
One more off the cuff, kind of out there entertainment note. My fellow wrestling fans all lost their stuff this week when the Mandalorian trailer came out for next season.
Okay. Because
WWE's Sasha Banks showed up in the trailer as a supposed Jedi Knight. Do you know the part in the trailer I'm talking about?
I haven't watched the trailer. I feel bad.
Do you? Okay. Yeah. Do you? No. There's a part. There's a part in the trailer where it's the Mandalorian has a child, and basically he's saying wherever the child goes, I go. And basically the gist of the trailer is that now the Mando's been given the directive to take the child to a Jedi or a cadre of Jedi Knights, because the child belongs with the Jedi is what he's been given the directive of. And just as Mando's been told the child belongs with the Jedi, you see Sasha kind of in this, it's kind of like in a busy marketplace type, maybe even like a dock type setting. And she's leaned up against this like metal barge or whatever it is, and she's kind of standing there, but it's like a dark black Jedi cloak, and she's just standing there staring at the two of them. And
or is she going to turn out to be a Sith trying to stop it?
That's what I think she is. I think she's a Sith Lord, and I think she's hooked up with, I don't remember what the guy's name is. The other Sith Lord that came after him in season 1.
Weird.
Yeah. So I just think that and every wrestling fan lost their minds.
And I guess they're promising the return of Boba Fett.
Yeah, this next
season 2.
Yep, in this season, Boba Fett is supposedly coming back in this season. So
very cool.
Yep.
All right, I lied. We do have another story. Jack Osbourne and the Ghost Brothers open Fright Club at Travel Channel from the Dead Files producer Painless, the people that do Holzer Files. Jack Osbourne has teamed up with the Ghost Brothers for a new paranormal format at the Travel Channel. Deadline understands that Osbourne, again, son of legendary heavy metal rocker Ozzy Osbourne, Tim, I don't know if you're aware of that.
No, I'm not.
And star of the MTV reality series is fronting Fright Club for Discovery-owned network. The show will see him partner with the Ghost Brothers, friends Dalen Spratt, Juwan Mass, and Marcus Harvey, who have had their own show, Ghost Brothers, Haunted House Guests on Travel Channel. The 10-part series utilizes clips and talk show elements to see the 4 of them watch paranormal videos together before experts weigh in about how to handle paranormal experiences, providing context and debunking some myths. I can tell you I was also a part of that series, Tim.
Nice.
I'm everywhere. I'm going, listen, we're finishing up my book, which I want to be a bestseller, because then we'll have radio, podcast, TV, and books. I want to claim myself the Howard Stern of the paranormal, Tim.
What are you going to do
king
for
of
film?
all paranormal media. Come on.
You got to do something for film then. Yeah.
I can make it happen. We'll release that porn from college.
The one with the Wookiee and the star bars. Yeah.
Yeah, Nookie with the Wookiee. I like it.
Nookie with the Wookiee.
Yeah, so that's going to be out there. That's coming out, I think, probably after the beginning of the new year. The article just kind of gets into who produced it and all the background production info nobody else cares about. But it is pretty cool. I got to be a part of the show. They have some other experts that weigh in on different aspects of everything from Bigfoot to aliens to demonology to ghosts. And it was great to be a part of it and a lot of fun, too.
Very cool.
Yeah, because they bring a unique sense of flair and style. Woo! That's my flair for you, Tim.
Nice. You got to kind of really belt into it, though. Sell it. You got to sell it.
When I do that, you always get upset because I ping your ears and blow the needle out. So I tried to be, I was giving
go ahead. Give it what you got.
I was giving the 2020 Ric Flair, who's a little bit more tired.
God. who's had a bit of a heart issue. Go ahead.
Yeah. Life on Venus, Tim. Astronomers see phosphine signals in its cloud. High in the toxic atmosphere of the planet Venus, astronomers on Earth have discovered signs of what might be life. If the discovery is confirmed by additional telescope observations and future space missions, Tim, space missions, it could turn the gaze of scientists toward one of the brightest objects in the night sky, Venus, named after the Roman goddess of beauty. Roasts at temperatures of hundreds of degrees, and it's cloaked by clouds that contain droplets of corrosive sulfuric acid. Few have focused on the rocky planet as a habitat for something actually living. Instead, for decades, Tim, scientists have sought signs of life elsewhere, usually peering outward towards Mars, and more recently at Europa and Enceladus and other icy moons of the giant planets. The astronomers who reported the finding on Monday in a pair of papers have not collected specimens of Venusian microbes, nor have they snapped any pictures of them. But with powerful telescopes, they've detected a chemical, phosphine, in the thick Venus atmosphere. After much analysis, the scientists assert that something now alive is the only explanation for the chemical source. Some researchers question this hypothesis as they suggest instead that the gas could just result from unexplained atmospheric or geologic processes on a planet that remains mysterious to us. But the finding also encourages some planetary scientists to ask whether humanity has overlooked a planet that may have once been more Earth-like than any other world in our solar system. This is an astonishing and out-of-the-blue finding, said Sarah Sager, a planetary scientist at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. and an author of the papers, one published in Nature Astronomy and another submitted to the journal Astrobiology. It will definitely fuel more research into the possibilities for life in Venus's atmosphere. We know that it is an extraordinary discovery, said Clara Sousa Silva, a molecular astrophysicist at Harvard University whose research has focused on phosphine, and another of the authors. We may not know just how extraordinary without actually going back to Venus. Sarah Stewart Johnson, a planetary scientist and head of the Johnson Biosignatures Lab at Georgetown University, who was not involved in the work, said there's been a lot of buzz about phosphine as a biosignature gas for exoplanets recently, referring to the search for life on worlds that orbit other stars. How cool is it to find it on Venus? She added, Venus has been ignored by NASA for so long. It's really been a shame. David Grisboon of the Planetary Science Institution in Tucson, Arizona, who was not part of the work but has long promoted the possibility of life in Venus's clouds, said, that is pretty damn exciting. The work needs to be followed up, he said, but this could be the first observation we've made, which reveals an alien biosphere. And what do you know? It's on the closest planet to home in the entire cosmos. Venus is one of the most beautiful objects in Earth's sky, but at a closer glance, the less lovely it becomes. Often called Earth's twin, Venus is roughly the same mass as Earth. Many scientists think that Venus once was covered in water and possessed an atmosphere where life as we know it very well could have flourished. Now, in earlier days of the solar system, Earth was not so hospitable to the likes of us. There was life here then, even an entire biosphere that did not survive in the oxygen-rich environment that later developed. And much as Earth over time became a home for jellyfish, ferns, dinosaurs, and Homo sapiens, Tim, Venus was transformed by something into a bit of a hell.
Mm-hmm.
Like divorce, Tim.
Yeah.
Today, the second planet from the sun has an atmosphere stifled by carbon dioxide gas and surface temperatures that average more than 800 degrees Fahrenheit. So it's like hanging out in Kentucky for the weekend, Tim.
Exactly, Dave. You've nailed it.
The dense atmosphere of Venus exerts a pressure of more than 1,300 pounds per square inch on anything at the surface. Whew. Boy, that'd be a hell of a workout. That's more than 90 times the 14.7 pounds per square inch at sea level on Earth, or the equivalent of being 3,000 feet underwater in the ocean.
Yep.
So that's crazy. There might be life on Venus, Tim.
Well, let's pump the brakes a little bit here, my friend. I don't think there is. And when you read further into the article, I studied this a little bit this past week. Not that I'm a scientist or anything, but it says the phosphine is in the upper atmosphere of the planet, which means a couple of different things. It could mean that this phosphine is actually remnants from an earlier time on Venus, which, again, you even read it yourself in the article, that at one time the planet was rich with life and is no longer rich with that life. So that phosphine could be trapped in the layers of the planet from a time earlier, which means that could have been phosphine that was from earlier remnants of living organisms that used to exist on Venus, that is trapped in the upper layers of the atmosphere. In other words, it could be
you want to go kick a puppy now too, Tim? Anything you want to tell the kids listening about Santa and the Easter Bunny, Tim?
Well,
Anything?
I would, but, I don't have that much time. So that could be just a false positive. Or, because nothing technically can live on that planet right now. Or, Dave, if you want to go all tinfoil hat on the deal...
Do I?
If you will. Let's play tinfoil hat here for a minute, my friend, and let's get really absurd about things. If nothing can live on that planet, per se... And nothing really can, because you've already suggested that the temperature on the planet is too hot for anything to exist. The gravity is too much for anything to exist. That planet would have to be a dumping ground, right? So
it's like Australia?
Yeah, it's like Australia. So if anything,
that's what the English sent all their criminals over there.
Well,
I'm saying that was their dumping ground. Yeah.
Exactly. So it's either a dumping ground for bodies or waste.
Ooh,
okay.
Creepy. Yeah.
So it could be literally a graveyard. Or it could be a waste plant.
Well, let's be the first two to go investigate there for paranormal.
So the phosphine that you're reading is actually just remnants from whatever an alien ship might have dropped off there to get rid of whatever it was they were trying to get rid of. That phosphine may not be an indicator of anything at all other than just waste product.
Weird stuff, man.
Yeah.
Weird stuff. Hey, Tim, scrape together your pocket change.
Yeah.
There's a house on the market you and I need to buy together.
Okay.
Fall River,
Massachusetts.
The spirit voices come free of charge with this house, Tim. Jerry Pacheco is convinced that the 3-story Maplecroft mansion at 306 French Street that's now listed for $890,000 is a beehive of paranormal activity. And before you jump to the conclusion that he's a bit balmy, consider the fact that Lizzie Borden lived there in the stately Queen Anne from 1893 until her death in the home at 1927. The infamous Lizzie, for most of that time of her life, shared the house with her older sister Emma. The alleged murderess, as she was referred to back then, bought the house in 1893 after her jury trial acquittal in the grisly axe murders of her father Andrew and stepmother Abby. Pacheco, 55, for the past 16 years has been operations manager for the Lizzie Borden Bed and Breakfast Museum. I'm the IT information technology guy and webmaster, he said. That 3-story house, originally listed at 92 2nd Street, has operated as a popular destination bed and breakfast since 1996. It's also where 32-year-old Lizzie in 1892 allegedly murdered her father and stepmother. So co-owners Donald Woods and Leanne Wilbur purchased the so-called murder house in 2004 from Martha McGinn, who had previously inherited it from her grandparents. Pacheco says he previously had been doing IT work for Woods, who at the time owned 3 Rhode Island nursing homes. Maplecroft LLC was with a listed address of 92 2nd Street in 2018, paid $500,000 for the 7-bedroom circa 1887 French Street house in the Lower Highland section of Fall River. Pacheco said Woods bought the house with the intent of converting it into another successful bed and breakfast. He says this came about after previous owner Christy Bates of Texas completely restored the once regal home to its former glory. I got a chance to walk through that home last year. It is gorgeous. To say that the former owner, who in 2014 sold the house to Bates, had let it fall into disrepair is a bit of an understatement of the first order, Pacheco said. The place looked like a cracked-in flop house. It was horrible. Just disgusting, he said. Pacheco gives credit to Bates, who essentially lived in the house for more than 2 years while restoring and repairing it in anticipation for opening up a bed and breakfast. She was a huge Lizzie Borden fan, which Pacheco says is more than he can say about himself. I'm not big on Lizzie Borden, but I run the place, he jokingly added. That's my job, is to run the place and make the owner money. Pacheco gives Bates credit for the blood, sweat, and tears, not to mention the money she invested into the French Street house. Christie had grand plans for the place, and so did Donald. Pacheco said she wanted to have weddings and events there. He said she probably would have had success opening it as a B&B if not for what he described as onerous demands placed on her by the city's building department. Pacheco said Bates' husband worked for a Texas oil company and that when the industry fell on hard times and she realized it was time to put the house on the market, she did back in 2017. Leanne Wilbur, in a phone interview, said it was Lizzie Borden who bestowed the house the name Maplecroft, possibly because of maple trees that were on the property, and had the name engraved into the top granite step of the front door. Pacheco said Woods spent $200,000 on infrastructure repairs, including a modern fire suspension sprinkler system. But he says the city told Woods he would have to install an elevator and insisted that he run the B&B as a privately owned enterprise as opposed to a limited liability company, which has been the case with the Lizzie Borden B&B. Pacheco says the advent of COVID-19 this year convinced Woods to put the house on the market, which he did 2 months ago. It was the final nail in the coffin, he said. Pacheco said he became convinced in late August that the French Street house is a magnet of sorts for spirits of the dead, including Lizzie Borden. He says the crew from the Dark Zone Network, which is known for investigating and documenting paranormal activity, spent nearly 4 days and nights inside the Lizzie Borden house on 2nd Street, during which it live-streamed its efforts. Pacheco said the crew's equipment managed to detect intermittent spirit voices, but he says they hit pay dirt when on the 4th night they came to Maplecroft. It was picking up 40 to 50 voices, Pacheco said, including what they thought was that of the late Lizzie, who he says was not particularly talkative. But he says he's completely convinced that the Dark Zone founder and paranormal investigator, Susan Slaughter, who wore noise-canceling headphones, was receiving direct answers to questions being posed by Pacheco and the crew. The entire event, which was live-streamed, was filmed and recorded and will be made available for a fee on the company's website. So, unfortunately, it's going to be a pain in the ass to turn it into a bed and breakfast. But the house is huge, and it's gorgeous, and it's crazy-ass haunted. But they've made all these strange demands, Tim. For a town, Fall River, their business hinges on Lizzie Borden. It really does. There's no way you can look away from it, right?
Right.
But they don't want to make this easy for the owners. I talked to Leanne, and she said it was brutal, the demands that were being placed on them by the city. And they wouldn't allow them to make it available for public ghost hunts. They wouldn't make it available for bed and breakfast. They couldn't do anything there. So, which is kind of a suck deal.
Boy, I'll say, yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of a crap deal. But speaking of haunted homes, Tim, are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
It's kind of a weird story because it's coming from the police department.
Okay.
Speaking of which, we're doing a weird crossover episode today. Stick with us, kids, because, on True Crime Tuesday, we do a lot of our dumb crime, stupid criminals. It's bleeding over into the paranormal edition today. So stick with us for that. A woman, this is from the Richmond Hill Police Department reports, a woman who works for a rental property management company went to RHPD September 1st to report that a man who lives next door to a property did approach a couple looking to rent, stating the house is haunted. And his parents had recently expired inside the home, a report said. After receiving that information from the man, the complainant stated that the couple did not want to rent the home anymore and informed her of why the decision was made. The complainant advised that this is an ongoing issue with the man and would like it to stop. The officer got in touch with the man and told him why, and the man did state, "Sir, I am not telling a lie. Both my parents expired inside that home." The officer then told the man, "The complaint's concerns of volunteering negative information to every prospect that comes to view the house." He apologized and stated he will not do it again. The officer also reported back to the complainant, and she appeared very satisfied with the end result. So that's kind of bizarre, right?
Yeah, very weird. Yeah.
First of all, aren't you, maybe in that area you don't have to tell people.
I don't think you do, no.
Yeah, but it's weird. Very, very creepy. You know what? Let's just roll right into the weird crimes this week.
Okay.
Are you ready for this?
Sure.
Ghost hunting teens held up at gunpoint near El Paso High School. A man held up two teens at gunpoint in central El Paso. Now, police department detectives are asking for help in identifying the robber through the Crime Stoppers of El Paso Crime of the Week. At 11:56 p.m. on August 5th, two teens parked in the 1500 block of Virginia Street next to El Paso High School, according to the police. The teens were attempting to see ghosts when a man knocked on their window. The pair lowered their window, and a man threatened the teenagers with a handgun. The man forced them out of the car and ransacked the vehicle. The robber stole an Apple iPhone and change. He fled on foot westbound on Crosby Avenue. The suspect is described as 18 to 20 years old with short hair and bushy eyebrows. He was wearing a white T-shirt and black shorts. Anyone with any information can call Crime Stoppers of El Paso, Tim, at 915-566-8477. So if you happen to have a scummy friend that held up two teens in El Paso, give them a call. Turn them in, 915-566-8477. That's the number. That's our first dumb crime, stupid criminal of the paranormal world, Tim. But, we're not done.
Nope.
Are you ready for more?
Yep.
This one is straight from our own backyard, Tim.
Oh, no.
This comes from the Carver County Sheriff's Office. Help! Bigfoot is on the loose. Today, the sheriff's office took a report of a replica Bigfoot, 8 feet tall and made out of sheet metal, being stolen from a yard in Chanhassen during the overnight hours. The photo that they're showing of the Bigfoot was one that was stolen. If you see Mr. Bigfoot out and about and have information regarding who stole him or know where he may be located, we are asking that you call the Carver County Sheriff's Office at 952-361-1231. Mr. Bigfoot was seen this morning along Hunter Mark Road in Chaska. However, when deputies checked this afternoon, he was gone, Tim. He is elusive, even in steel form. How about that?
It's the same stuff they use on the SR-71 Blackbird, Dave. It's that stealth steel that you can't quite see. Yeah.
Look at you.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, that's not all the news. It is the news with Bigfoot and crimes, Tim. Bigfoot apparently not happy with America right now. Mm-hmm. Nebraska Bigfoot Museum has what they call a torn braided flag, providing new evidence of Bigfoot. We're going to Hastings, Nebraska, Tim, where apparently it was a very slow news day. There's one specific word Harriet McFeely listens for when she talks to guests at her museum in Hastings. Weird is the key word here. I always say to people, you ever have anything weird? You ever hear anything weird? Then they always throw out, well, there was this one weird thing, McFeely said. And one weird thing after another is what led to the creation of the Nebraska Bigfoot Crossroads of America Museum. The latest peculiar exhibit comes courtesy of Garrison, Nebraska, a tiny town about 95 miles northeast of Hastings. The flag at the local cemetery was discovered torn up. Garrison resident Jim Darrow initially blamed a recent thunderstorm, but then he looked closer. The torn aspects of the flag had been braided, Tim.
Ah, yes.
The 3 large braids are tied in very hard knots at the end, which is amazing itself. But then, if you look closer, and these are very tiny braids, there are single strands of fabric that are braided and even knotted and then braided again, Darrow said. I don't know if you knew this, Tim. Bigfoot's big into braiding.
He is. He does a mean cornrow. I don't know if you know that or not.
You know, during the summer months, he wants to get that hair out of his face, so he's learned to do a nice cornrow setup and roll it back.
Yep.
It's cooler. It exposes more of the scalp for air to breathe.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Now, the flag at the local cemetery was discovered torn up. Garrison resident Jim Monaro initially blamed that thunderstorm, but after looking at this, thunderstorms, Tim, I don't know if you're aware of this, they do not have the ability to braid things.
No?
Yeah.
Huh.
It's true. When a museum visitor relayed the story to McFeely, she knew she needed to see the flag. I saw the picture and that big knot, McFeely said. That's all I saw, and I knew it. I knew it. It's Bigfoot. The same as the horse braid exhibit already at the museum. McFeely says horses across the world sometimes show up with unexplained braids in their hair. She says the braided horses could be connected to Bigfoot creatures, because Bigfoot likes to braid the hair of ponies while talking about boys, like everybody, Tim.
Oh, sure.
Huh? They braid each other's hair. They talk about boys. They eat late-night snacks, maybe even play with the Ouija board. You don't know.
Oh, yeah. I don't know if you remember, Dave, the failed Hasbro My Little Pony Bigfoot edition.
Do I?
Yeah.
My Little Pony Bigfoot edition, now with braiding features.
Yeah.
All I know is of all these places, every place there were horses that have been braided. We've also found footprints that were made casts out of. People have taken pictures of Bigfoot as well, McFeely said. So she visited Garrison and got Darrow to donate the flag. While there, locals told McFeely of several other mysterious sightings. 2 people shared unexplainable stories from nearby Stromsburg and Seward at McFeely's news conference on Tuesday. It's all enough to get Darrow thinking. It lends some credence to the idea of Bigfoot, Darrow said. That's as good an explanation as any. Is it, though? Really? Braided flag means Bigfoot? Bigfoot was like bored, no ponies around to braid. Just decides to shred up a flag and knot it up at the end.
Could have meant Betsy Ross Gangsta edition.
Ah, very well.
Yeah.
Well, Tim, that's not all there is in Bigfoot crime. Can you believe it? When it rains, brother, it pours. An Alexander City woman has been arrested for attempted murder in Shelby County. Gwendolyn Michelle Jones, 39, is in the Shelby County jail after firing a weapon at a sleeping male in her home. Jones shot a Ruger LCP 380 handgun multiple times at the victim while he was sleeping, court records state. Once the victim awoke, he witnessed Jones standing across the room holding the pistol. She then fired additional rounds while standing in the hallway. The Outlook reported last month about Jones' affiliation with the Bigfoot researchers as the Southeast Regional Coordinator. In a video of Jones recorded by the Outlook, Jones said she was helping conduct a search for Sasquatch in a portion of the Talladega National Forest. She stated she was in the military and law enforcement for 15 years. Jones also told the Outlook she discovered adult male and female Sasquatch in the area along with juveniles, and that she left food weekly for those creatures. Jones was searching for others across the Southeast who have credible sightings of Sasquatch. Jones has been charged with attempted murder, a Class A felony, attempted first-degree domestic violence, which is a Class B felony, and first-degree criminal trespassing, which is a Class A misdemeanor. According to the Shelby County Jail website, Jones has an $81,000 bond available to her, Tim. So if you want to deflect that money that you were going to use to buy Maplecroft, Tim, and bail out a fellow Bigfooter, that's the way to do it. That's the way. Well, that's it for Dumb Crimes, Stupid Criminals Paranormal Edition, Tim. A tourist makes the 7th Loch Ness... Let me try that again, Tim.
Sure.
Yeah. Words is hard. My mind is still on the Bigfoot murder.
Well, I don't blame you. Yeah.
A tourist makes the 7th Loch Ness monster sighting so far in 2020. How about that? A tourist claims he spotted Nessie while on break with his family, but didn't realize it until he looked back at his holiday picture snaps. Mr. Van Schuerbeck has now clocked up the official 7th sighting of the mysterious creature this year. He recorded a dark object in the distance near Point Claire at 2:22 p.m. on Saturday, August 29th. It's now been accepted by the official Loch Ness Sightings Register. Earlier this year, a fireman recorded the year's 6th and one of the classic sightings of the Loch Ness Monster. We reported that on the show, an amazing photograph. Forestry worker Ross McCauley has lived all his life around Loch Ness and did not believe in Nessie, but he and his fellow firefighters, Tim. He and his fellow firefighters were baffled by the 12-foot-long creature that Ross photographed on his mobile phone, Tim. On his mobile phone.
Mobile phone.
It is also the first accepted sighting of Nessie by a witness at the Loch this year, with the other 5 logged by the Loch's webcam. Ross, 35, is a retained firefighter at Drummondracht, lying on the shore of Loch Ness. He is also a tree feller and fencer for Forestry and Land Scotland working around the Loch. But on Wednesday, July 8th, Ross was driving just outside Fort Augustus when he glanced at the water about 200 feet below the road. There was a couple of kayakers about 100 yards away from them. Something was following below the surface. At first, I thought it was a big rock under the water, and I just carried on driving, said Ross. Then I thought, there's never been a rock there before. So curiosity got the better of me. I turned around and parked in a long lay-by. That's like a place you pull over on the side of the road, Tim.
Ah, yes, yeah.
The object had moved and was now out in the middle of the loch. The kayakers were much further behind. The creature must have done about 400 yards in a minute and against the wind. Against the wind. I started watching it for 5 minutes. There was no long neck, no head, just this hump. I would say it was 12 feet long, about 4 feet wide at its widest. It was light gray, and it went under the water, then up, then disappeared. I've lived my entire life in the area, and I'm a keen fisherman who has spent hundreds of hours on the loch, but I've never seen anything like that before. Did I believe in Nessie? Hell no. I've seen seals dozens of times in the loch, but this was far too big to be a seal. It was not a log, and it was traveling against the wind, Tim. If somebody can explain to me what I've seen, that would be great, but I just can't explain it. I never thought I would be one of those guys who would see Nessie. I kept quiet at first, but then I showed the images to my fellow firefighters, and they at first took the mick, but they are equally baffled by what it is. In fact, one had seen something like that himself 25 years ago. I have no idea what I saw, but I would say it was an animal of some kind. Gary Campbell, the recorder of the official Loch Ness Monster Sightings Register, said it's a classic sighting of Nessie, with no head or neck discernible. It's just under the surface and may not have been visible to the kayakers at water level. It is fascinating sighting and adds to the mystery. Do you think Nessie was seeing the kayaker thinking, oh, that looks like a tasty treat?
Oh,
it's
sure, yeah.
Hard and crunchy on the outside, soft and chewy on the inside, Tim.
Kind of like an eternal gobstopper, soft and chewy edition.
Mr. Campbell said nearly a third of sightings of Nessie in recent years were from public watching the Loch's webcam. I would like to see webcams all around the Loch to get a 360-degree watch. I'm sure that would produce even more sightings, he said. It's a huge Loch. That's a lot of cameras you'd have to put out there, Tim.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what? That's not enough for you, Tim?
No.
Another sighting of the Loch Ness monster is not enough for you?
No.
Well, how about if we go to Arkansas, Tim?
There's a Loch Ness monster in Arkansas?
There may be a giant egg of one. A large, scaly object resembling a giant egg was found in an Arkansas field, leading to an ongoing social media debate over what it might be and if it was once alive. Photos of the find were posted Monday by the Arkansas History Unearthed Facebook group, showing it was oval-shaped with more than 2 feet long and seemingly reptilian in origin. It's bonkers, dude. It totally looks like a dragon's egg.
Weird.
Well, Dave, I can't see it. How come you don't post those? Why don't you post them? How come we can't find it? Why don't you post them? I'm going to get those emails. How about you just do this? I've told you, a giant dragon stone egg in Arkansas. Google it, folks. It'll pop up. You'll find it. You could see it for yourself. But, Tim, I just sent it to you. Look at that picture.
But, Dave, how come I can't? Oh, wait, I can see it. It's right here.
Yeah, there it is. Pretty good, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'd like to scramble that up.
Group member Drew Ballridge of Fayetteville, Arkansas, reported the object had been found by someone in a field, and he asked, what, if anything, could this possibly be? Hundreds have responded in the past day, including many who called the object creepy and scary. Among their ideas, fossilized dinosaur waste, a prehistoric egg, a petrified turtle shell, or a giant mushroom. A few wanted to know if it was soft enough to cut open, while others warned the finder not to bring it indoors. Be careful, it could hatch, Brian Armour posted on Facebook. Looks like something from another world, Marcus Hayes wrote. Alien egg, Steve Morgan posted with 2 exclamation points, Tim.
Yeah.
Several people suggested it's a prized geological formation known as a siderite septarian nodule, which is actually correct, according to James Starnes, director of surface geology for the Mississippi Office of Geology. Septarian nodules are often referred to as the dragon stone because the natural patterns make people think of a dragon's skin. According to fossilaria.com, the site sells examples of the stone for up to $395.
Jeez.
The photos indicate the specimen this big, which will make it highly prized by collectors. It's a crazy-looking specimen, really unique and very special. It could also be ancient. The nodules typically form in muddy sediment when soils dry out over the years and develop desiccation, cracks. I can't say the word, Tim. I see it, I hear it in my head, and it comes out desiccation.
By the way, my blues name was Muddy Sediment. I don't know if you know that or not.
I do. Yeah. I have all your album.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
All your album.
Yeah,
just the one.
Just the one, yeah.
Yep. Those cracks later fill in with secondary minerals like calcite. The age of the nodule would depend on where it was found, Starn said. The Facebook post did not give an exact location or weight of the stone. It's very cool looking, though, isn't it?
It is.
I bet that thing sells for like $80,000. Because some knucklehead fan of Game of Thrones is going to want to buy it and put it in their home.
Probably sit on it for about 6 months, see if something pops out.
Wait, do you hear that sound?
What's that?
Dear Dave and Tim, big fan of the show until, of course, you began ripping on Game of Thrones fans. Oh, some idiot fan. I bought your book and your DVD, Dave. Does that make me an idiot fan of yours? Just asking. Game of Thrones #1 fan, Eleanor. P.S. Love the show. Can't wait for the switch over. I'll be listening. Followed you for 14 years. Plan on following you for 14 more.
Oh, that was mighty nice of him.
Started off full of anger.
Yeah. It might have cast a 6-sided die on you.
Tim, what? Huh? You want more weird things found on the beach?
Yeah.
Well, let's go to Wisconsin, Tim, which this seems to make sense.
There's a 3-boobed woman out there?
No,
okay.
Tim. But Racine police are looking to determine not only the what, but the why, after what appeared to be a brain was found on a beach Tuesday,
I saw 15th. That. Yeah, in tinfoil.
Yeah, police are still working to figure out out what was found along the beach at Samuel Myers Park on Tuesday morning, if it's human or not. For the man who found it, the discovery is hard to believe. Jimmy Senda said, "You never know what you'll find along the shore." The construction worker takes a stroll on the beach each morning, collecting sea glass and random stuff because I like to do artwork at home with that stuff that I find, Senda said. What he found Tuesday was definitely out of the ordinary. I don't really know how to explain it. It didn't register. I was just like, what the beep is this? I came across this square package wrapped in aluminum foil and found it around with a pink rubber band around it. Curiosity got to me, so I popped it open, and it looked like a chicken breast, kind of. Remind me not to eat at his house for chicken night, Tim.
Right, yep.
It took a little bit for it to really register on what was going on. I was looking at a brain. Flowers and what appeared to be paper with the Mandarin characters printed on it were also found with the suspected brain. Senda said he found some city employees working nearby and asked them the same question he was thinking. And they're like, "Yeah, that's a brain," Senda said. Senda then called the police. They responded similarly, according to Senda. "Yeah, looks like a brain." Senda normally walks the beaches further north and said it had been a while since he had been to Myers Park. On some level, he is glad he found what he did. There's a lot of kids and families that are down there, and what happens if a kid would have found it, said Senda. Police told Fox 6 News that the brain is not believed to be human. However, authorities are waiting on an official confirmation from the Racine County Medical Examiner's office, because when they saw Tim, they said, "Yeah, it's a brain." I'm just quoting them, Tim.
You know,
it's a brain.
I don't mean this to come off mean, Dave. You know me. I'm Mr. Love and Light.
You are. You're love and light in that order.
Honest to God, in a state that's produced Dahmer and Geen, when you find a brain wrapped up in tinfoil in the state of Wisconsin, it's probably somebody's
out on a rock.
It's probably somebody's lunch.
Yeah, they were heating it up. They had it wrapped in aluminum foil.
Yeah.
Right, it was sitting out, just slow cooking. Yeah. It was slow roasting is what they were doing.
It's known as head cheese. Just saying.
Oh, God. Yeah. Oh. Let's go to Japan, Tim.
Okay.
This is a story, man. Protocol for UFOs? Well, that's exactly what the Defense Minister Taro Kono ordered for the self-defense forces to follow Monday as he issued standing orders for dealing with unidentified aerial objects that could pose a threat to Japan's security. Something's happening, Tim. Something's happening big because our government is layering on these stories of, well, yeah, that's our footage. Yeah, I mean, there's been some pretty big releases from the Pentagon this year, and the fact that there is an ongoing investigation into UFOs. And now you've got the defense minister, Taro Kono of Japan, having a concern to Japan's security. In a statement, Kono asked SDF members to record and photograph any such objects they encounter or that enter Japanese airspace and to take steps for the necessary analysis of the sightings, including information provided separately by the public. While the Defense Ministry says there have been no known cases of the SDF encountering UFOs, the latest move comes after the U.S. Defense Department established a special unidentified aerial phenomena task force last month in order to improve its understanding of and gain insight into the nature and origins of the objects and other phenomena. The Pentagon also released videos in April that were taken in 2004 and 2015, including one that showed an elliptical flying object that demonstrated unseen levels of speed and maneuverability. Kono said after the video's release that he does not believe in UFOs. Rather, one key aspect of forming the protocol was to have rules in place in the event that SDF members encounter unconventional aircraft, including ever-advancing drone technology that could pose a national security threat. It sounds like backpedaling to me, Tim.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just putting it out there. Just putting it out there. And our final strange bit of news today, Tim.
Mm-hmm.
We may have an answer as to what contributed to the sinking of Titanic.
A nice.
Are you ready? Well, that definitely helped, Tim. But why? Well, on that fateful night of April 15th, 1912, the seemingly unsinkable RMS Titanic hit an iceberg and sunk for hours, killing over 1,000 passengers. Now, more than a century later, a new study proposes that the RMS Titanic was... Titanic?
Yes.
Yeah, the Titanic. More than a century later, a new study proposes that the RMS Titanic was slightly thrown off course by the northern lights present during that night. According to U.S.-based meteorological researcher, the Titanic's last night of sailing at the Atlantic Ocean was illuminated by the aurora borealis. The researcher said her study of the accounts of the eyewitnesses during that night and argues that the geomagnetic storm might have been large enough to affect the navigation system of the Titanic to a small but very significant degree. She believes that the interference might have disrupted the wireless transmission between Titanic and the other nearby vessels, which blocked the distress calls and messages from the sinking ship. However, the magnetic disruption may have also offset the error by accidentally sending the Titanic's broadcast position to another vessel, which leads to its correct location of the Titanic's lifeboats. With a high enough intensity solar flares of this was the Carrington event in 1859, when storm-induced currents in telegraph wires that operators received shocks due to the pylons that it sparked. If such an incident happened today, it would most likely cause a potential tragedy like the sinking of Titanic. Now, Mila Zinkova, an independent weather researcher and retired computer programmer, said that most writers who write about Titanic do not know that the northern lights were present on that fateful night when the ship sunk. A small interference on the navigation system can make a big difference, she added. One of the survivors of the sinking ship was the author Lawrence Beasley, who described finding the aurora borealis after the ship sunk as a faint glow in the sky ahead of the starboard quarter. The first gleams we thought of the coming dawn. At first, they were not sure of what light they saw, as they were just glad to be seeing lights from the unfortunate event. But later on, they realized it was the northern lights. Similarly, Second Officer James Bissett of the RMS Carpathia, who was the Cunard Line passenger steamer bound for Fiume in Austria-Hungary that came to the rescue of the survivors, said that he saw the northern lights an hour before Titanic struck the iceberg. He noted on his log that the weather was calm and the sea smooth with no wind. The sky was clear and the stars were shining brightly, but there was no moon in sight. Only the aurora borealis glimmered like moonbeams seen from the northern horizon. So that's pretty interesting to me, Tim. I don't know about you, but the fact that it could have been the northern lights disrupting the magnetic principles of their communications and some of their
instruments,
navigation instruments. Yeah. So that's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
So there you have it. That's the fun, the strange, the supernatural news for this week. We're going a little light this week just because of the transition. We will be back with your calls, your emails, and supernatural news next week. So if you want to be a part of the show and give us a call, 651-300-4977. You can leave your voicemail, your personal encounters with the strange or supernatural, or if you've heard a story from one of your family members, they're maybe not around or unwilling to share it, but you'd like to, call us and leave us a voicemail. Tell us that story. 651-300-4977. 651-300-4977. That's our Voices from Beyond voicemail. And remember, all the changes are taking place during the next week here. And Tim, is it time to announce the change in days as well?
You know, I was thinking about that. Should we?
I think we should. How about if we leave it up to some listeners? If you guys like the ideas for this change, let us know. Our thoughts are, since many of you save these episodes up to listen to during the work week, Tuesday, you'll have brand new episodes of True Crime Tuesday. Wednesday will become our Supernatural News Parashare Day. Thursday will become our regular Supernatural Encounters episodes. So you'd get those episodes delivered Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday each week. And then you could tune in, listen to the show. You could still save them for the weekend if you'd like. Or do you think that we should keep Tuesday True Crime and then weekends we'll go to the paranormal? We'd like to hear your thoughts on it. You can email us, Dave@darknessradio.com. dave@darknessradio.com. Let us know if those changes work for you. So if you like to have something to listen to on the way to work, on the way home from work, or during your lunch breaks, and you'd like to have those episodes delivered to you Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, then I think we're going to be making that change here in the next week or two. So email us now. Let us know your thoughts. Thank you for your patience and understanding in this changeover, folks. Soon we will be up and running, and it is better for you because not only do you get our show, but now you get exposure to all of the great programming that's part of Stitcher and Stitcher Premium. For that guy, I'm this guy. We'll be back tomorrow with more of the best in paranormal talk radio. I'm Dave. That's Tim. This is Darkness Radio.